In this video, I'm taking vocals from two of the greatest Bollywood singers of all time and flipping them into some crazy hip hop beats. Let's dive straight into it. Okay, for the first beat, we're going to be sampling Asha Bhosle, who sadly passed away recently. And before we get into choosing the song to flip, I'm just going to quickly build a really basic boom bap drum pattern. So this is a drum loop that I've got from a pack and it's the perfect vibe for what I want. So a really basic drum pattern, we only need to jazz it up a little bit to be the perfect vibe. And for these drums, just to make it quick, I'm using loops, it'll be a lot easier. We'll just stick this crunchy top loop on. Already sounding good. And then finally, let's just add in one extra subby kick, just to give that extra bounce. Yeah, perfect. As long as we put this in the right place, you'll have that perfect bounce, and that will do boom bap drums perfectly. Perfect. Now we can get on to the fun part. So, of course, the good thing with sampling is that you can take any part of a song and, mess around with it. So I just want to do something that has vocals in for sure, because that's the best part of these classic Bollywood singers. So there's a bit in this track that I think would work really well. Perfect. You see what I mean? So just to make it easier to find the chops, we're going to throw this into Serato sample. And if we just click find samples, we'll see what it comes out with. Okay. First, I just always like to change the pitch just to make it a bit different. Let's go up to A minor. Now this can be the tedious part, but it's also the most important part. What I want to do is get all of the good parts mapped out onto the keyboard so we can just have fun with playing the chops. So we're going to find the vocals. So we've got this one, and now I'm going to move it there so I know that this is going to be the first note for the vocals. And then I just want to try and get all of the syllables mapped out, because then you can do some cool stuff. At the moment, it's a bit random, but I want to get all of these individually mapped. So just have to do it. It can be tedious, like I said, but the result will be worth it.
One hour later.
Okay, after a lot of work, we've got the chops that I need. So the first half of the track has that like high piercing instrument. Ooh. So I've just accidentally come up with a nice little progression, which I'm going to keep in mind because that could work as like a bridge or intro or something. So we've already found a chop, which I wasn't intending, but it's good to have lots of different sections that we can do. That would get really annoying pretty quickly, so you don't want it playing throughout the whole track. So we'll just keep that in mind. But anyway, the vocal part, I've got it really well mapped out. So now we play it with the drums, and this is where you're going to see that hard work paying off, because you're going to be able to do all sorts of cool stuff. So we've got perfect chops. That whole section is mapped out, and we could like mix and match. You can come up with all sorts of different sections so it doesn't get boring. But yeah, you got to take your time with it and just feed it out. Another technique we can do is take the parts where the vocal plays with like that strum of the guitar. So we've got... and then find all of those, because then you can make your own progression from it. There we go. There's one. So yeah, you can get stuck for hours trying to find the right chops. So take your time with it, make 2 or 3 sections and you're good to go. So that's what I'm going to get into now and see if I can find the perfect chops. And then we'll come back and start adding some more layers like the bass and some pads and things like that. Okay, so it took me ages to get these chops and this is what I've settled on. The first one is using that intro bit, which I think just works so well. The next section is just taking some of the vocal sections and just playing them all the way through, just on beat. And then again with this section, it's just another vocal section just playing all the way through. And then we've got this section, which is a more chopped up version, just putting things together in different places, and I think it works pretty well. And then the next thing I've done is just duplicate that layer, and I've got some accent sounds. So there were bits of the sample where I think it could work layered with the vocals. So one of them is this. So a really nice string section that can just like play at the end of a bar, for example. And then we've got this one, which is a vocal. And then this is my favorite one, the flute. So these can all be sprinkled throughout, layered with the vocal, just to add some nice, interesting bits and whatnot. I want to add in a bass, and that's going to be important to do the bass to the different chops we've got so it matches, because the progressions and melodic elements change slightly. So now it's starting to come together a bit more. We can start trying to add more layers, so more melodic layers, like some keyboard strings, things like that. We can just play like an A minor chord. That will just add some nice little texture and subtlety to everything. So yeah, literally the exact same as the bass line, where I'm just going through all the sample chops, layering the melodic notes that fit with it, so that if the vocal chops out, it won't sound like completely empty and dead. The only thing we need to really do is just figure out where to drop these accents and to add a few more melodic layers just to emphasize certain sections. So you can see that little flute accent takes it to the next level. That is like the missing ingredient. So just things like that, sprinkle them throughout, figure out where they fit best, and that will take you to the next level. So I'll finish arranging this out and we'll see how the final track sounds. Okay, so for the next beat, we're going to be sampling a track from Lata Mangeshkar. Excuse my pronunciation. Again, first I want to build the drums, and this time I want to do something like Addictive by Truth Hurts. So we're going to build a similar drum pattern with a lot of bounce and try to add some percussion in there that makes it sound Indian from the get-go. So this time I'm working at 99 beats per minute, and I'm starting off with this loop. So it's simple and it's on grid, so hopefully it'll be easy just to layer some sounds with it. And yeah, we just want to basically copy that addictive drum pattern. Let's throw in some hats and perks to start filling it up a bit. So the hat is there just to add texture more than anything, just going on these quarter notes. And then we've got this perk sound, which is basically another doubler, but it's just giving us that very specific bounce that you hear in that addictive track, which is just before the clap and snare, you get that extra hit. So now all together, it's starting to sound a lot better. And then let's finish it off with some tambourines and shakers. So now the drums are done. Let's move on to the sample. And the song that I've chosen for this one is this, Ganga Jamuna, but it's got a really cool intro that instantly stood out to me, and I can imagine what to do with it. And then it goes into the vocal. And then it goes into the main instrumental. So instantly, this whole intro before the percussion comes in is perfect. It's a goldmine. So we'll just take out all the percussion. So we'll keep all of this, let's say. So for this one, because of how easy it should be, we're not going to need to use Serato sample. We can just do it with audio in the track like this. First of all, I want to use a vocal bit for sure, because I can imagine the chop. And as I'm chopping it, I like to keep playing the drums because that's how you pick up like the pockets and the groove and, you know, the bits where you should chop it. So for example, the vocal comes in and we could start it there. And then maybe you pitch it around so it just lines up a bit better. But from listening to it, I don't know if you can tell this, but instantly I can hear that it needs to have a pocket at the beginning and the vocal comes in. And luckily the sample has the perfect thing. Just do that. Let's loop it. So yeah, sometimes you can get really lucky and it just works out like that. The progression pretty much writes itself. And you can drill in and find the perfect way to chop it, get the fades done, maybe EQ out a certain frequency or two. But a lot of the time, there's no need to overcomplicate it. You just let the sample breathe and do its thing. Okay, so after a bit of fiddling, this is what I've come up with. So it is basically like it was before, but it's taken different sections. So now the progression is the vocals actually changing. So we can see the first chop is actually from halfway through the track where the drums and percussion drops out and the same thing as the intro happens. And then the second one, I've used another one later in the track. And then this third chop is again another later one in the track. So 3 different parts, which I assume are like the chorus from the track, but each time the vocal is different, so it creates a progression. It's not just looping the same vocal. I also want to get another part of the sample where there's no vocal, because we can't have the vocal throughout the whole track, especially if an artist is going to jump on it. Luckily, we've got that awesome intro which has the perfect sort of sound and progression and vibe to it. So we just do the same thing and chop it in a cool way that also transitions into this vocal bit really easily. And then there's this really cool bit at the end. So let's just find a way to chop it so it loops again, and then it can easily flow into the vocal section. and then you can go into the vocal section. So you can see just really easily, it's a very visual thing to chop it this way. Again, I'm just going to add a bass line to this, and it's pretty easy because it's like a single note that you do throughout the whole thing. The whole progression is just, I think, in G minor. So once again, let me finish arranging this and adding some tweaks and transitions, and then I'll show you how it sounds like. And then after that, I'm going to show you one more beat that I've already made, which I think you're going to dig. So now for this final beat, I want to show you a track I've been working on, which follows the same principles as the previous ones I've been showing you, but it's come out really fire, and I just want to show you what can be done when you put this into practice. So we've got this song here, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce. If you're a producer, you're going to hear that and think of the possibilities, and that's exactly what I've done. So I've just built basic boom bap drums, which, you know, pretty easy to do. I've put in the bass that follows the progression, chopped up the vocal, and this is the beat that you end up with. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments which of these beats was your favourite. And if you want to see more Indian flips like this, check out these videos right here.